Merry Christmas!
I hope everybody is having a wonderful Christmas and a very safe New Year. Now, in honor of Christmas, the 25th of December, Santa Claus here has made his list. He has checked it twice, and there's only one thing missing from it, and that is a Stanley Cup. That is right, boys. I'm going to be putting Old Saint Nick into the NHL for one reason and one reason only, and that's to win a Stanley Cup with him. And you're probably wondering, how are we going to do that? Well, Santa Claus here is going to spin the wheel every single season that he does not win a Stanley Cup, and we are going to be hopping around the NHL. The wheel has every single NHL team on it. Whatever team we land on, that's the team he's going to join, and we are going to do that pretty much every single season until he takes home the Stanley Cup at the end of the year. So without further ado, no more talking besides letting you guys know this. Alright, so here we are on the wheel with Old Saint Nick, looking to see which team he's going to be joining first here in NHL 24. We do have every single team in the NHL on this wheel, so we are going to spin it and see which team we land on. Hopefully we get a good team, so we're not stuck on some bum poverty franchise to start off with. And it looks like we are going to be joining one of the poverty franchises in the NHL. That is the Calgary Flames. Honestly, not a good start off rip. Not really a Stanley Cup contender, but you never know with Old Saint Nick on the team. I mean, he is a 96 overall, so he should be able to help the team out a little bit at least. And there is the old jolly bastard, Santa Claus, Old Saint Nick, down the middle. He's a 96 overall alongside Jonathan Huberdeau, who's an 86 and honestly washed at this point. And Mangiapane, who's a decent player, but only an 83 overall. As you all know, Calgary does not have the best roster. Forwards core is not the greatest. Defense core, we do have a top pairing D core, Mackenzie Weegar and Rasmus Anderson, both 87 apiece. And in goal, of course, we have an 86 overall Jacob Markstrom. We do have Dustin Wolf in the AHL, who we could call up. He's a low overall, but he has a lot of potential. We are going to see if Old Saint Nick, 26 years old, in the prime of his career, can carry the Calgary Flames to a Stanley Cup. If you guys do enjoy videos like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single live stream or video that I put out on the channel. So at the end of the regular season, Calgary is actually going to end up making the playoffs, as I believe they got the wild card spot as they go 45, 32, and 5. Good enough for 95 points on the season. Obviously, Saint Nick probably did his thing, but I mean, if they're only making the wild card with a 96 overall centerman, that's tough. Vancouver was the best team in the NHL with 49 wins. Tampa Bay was up there, Carolina, Boston. Calgary was way down here at 10th in the entire NHL. Not bad, honestly, for the Flames. Santa Claus is going to absolutely tear up this year. 34 goals, 118 points, obviously leading the Calgary Flames. Lindholm had 72. Nazem Kadri had 67. Huberdeau had 67, which he probably won't even reach in real life. Dylan Dubé was up there, 56, -9, though. Mangiapane had 53. Yeah, this team is not very good, boys. Jacob Markstrom, I mean, he went 38, 30, and 4, 3 shutouts, and not very good stats. Save percentage is decent, but 3 goals against per game is not going to cut it. Santa Claus is going to lead all skaters in points for the regular season with 118, followed by Elias Pettersson, who had 113. David Pastrnak was up here. Barkov had 111. Matthew Tkachuk had 107. Alexander Ovechkin was up there. Sean Draisaitl McDavid for the goal side. Ovi is going to lead with 65 tucks on the season. Kucherov had 57. Matthews 54. Connor Bedard was up there, 49. Kaprizov 49. We had a lot of high scoring affairs. Santa Claus obviously only scored 34, but he is a rookie, so I believe he's going to win the Calder as well. He's not a rookie. I guess because I put him at 26 years old, he's not going to do it. And in the first round of the playoffs, the Calgary Flames sadly are up against the Colorado Avalanche, who are not the greatest team of all time in this game, but they still are very good and hard to beat. So I'm not really expecting to get much done here in the postseason. If we do, it'll be a pleasant surprise. And predictably, we are going to end up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche, as they beat us in 6 games, and they beat the New Jersey Devils in the Stanley Cup Finals in 6 games as well. Now for the playoffs, despite only playing 6 games, Santa Claus was very good. 4 goals and 10 points, also 6 helpers. Lindholm had 7, Blake Coleman had 6, Huberdeau 6. Santa Claus is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while Ovechkin's going to win the Maurice Richard. The Norris to Cale Makar, the Conn Smythe is going to go to Nathan McKinnon. The Vezina to Freddie Anderson, and the Selke will go to Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. Alright, here we are back on the wheel. We are going to spin it and see which team Old Saint Nick is going to be joining next. Hopefully we get a better team than Calgary. That was not great. And we're going to get the Vancouver Canucks. who ended up finishing first in the simulation last year. And in real life right now, I believe they're first or maybe even second, but they have a very good roster. So there he is, Old Saint Nick on the first line of the Vancouver Canucks, alongside a 94 overall Elias Pettersson, an 86 Andrei Kuzmenko. I actually, before this, never knew his first name. They also have a very good second line with JT Miller, Brock Besser, Ilya Mikheyev. Yeah, Vancouver is a pretty good roster. Defensively, we obviously have the stud that is Quinn Hughes. Philip Hronek, for some reason, is an 87 overall in this game. EA overrates him heavily, but I will take it. And in goal, obviously, we have Thatcher Demko, 89 overall. Vancouver is going to have a great regular season, finishing with 51 wins, 106 points, first in the Pacific, and we would end up finishing third in the entire NHL, only behind the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina won 54 games. Ottawa was up here with 49. They're definitely not doing that in real life. Dallas, Anaheim, holy hell. Detroit was up here. Detroit has the worst defense ever imaginable. They're literally on par with the Edmonton Oilers. Their games are always like 5-1 them, and then they blow the lead and end up winning it or either losing it in overtime. Now, Old Saint Nick is going to improve off last season, scoring 46 goals and 121 points, leading the Vancouver Canucks, followed by Elias Pettersson's 92. JT Miller had 82. Kuzmenko was up there with 79. Quinn Hughes only 79. Honestly, I'll be disappointed if this is all he hits in real life, especially the 13 goals. Brock Besser was up there, 31 goals and 66 points. Connor Garland had 50. So yeah, we were pretty good offensively. Demko went 40, 21 and 3, 5 shutouts, and all right stats, I guess. Not the greatest, but yet again, Old Saint Nick is going to lead the entire NHL in points, this time with 121, followed by Kucherov's 115. McDavid was up there 115. Matthews had 107. McKinnon 107. He's on a tear right now in real life. Mitch Marner had 105. Draisaitl, Nylander, Pasta for the goal side. Yet again, Ovi's going to lead. He has another 60-goal season. That is crazy. Matthews had 59. Kucherov was up there at 56. McKinnon had 50. Cole Caulfield had a good season, 49 goals. Jeff Skinner had 48. And obviously, Santa Claus was up there with 46 goals on the season. Also, I forgot to mention his, I put X Factors on him. He has goal truculence, he has bouncer, elite edges, heat seeker, unstoppable force, and wheels. This guy's an absolute unit on the ice, 6'1", 245 pounds. Honestly, I couldn't make him any heavier. I would have if I could have, but I did search up the height of Santa Claus on Google, and it said he was 6 feet. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Minnesota Wild, who we should absolutely dominate. We have a much better roster than them. And funny enough, that's the team that Santa Claus was on last year, so he's up against his former team here in round number 1. And the Vancouver Canucks have made the Stanley Cup Finals. We are up against the Carolina Hurricanes, who were the best team in the regular season, so they obviously have a very good roster, and they are my arch rivals. So let's see if Santa Claus can pull together the troops, get together all of Vancouver's roster, and lead them to their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. And sadly, the Vancouver Canucks are not going to get it done, as they pretty much got dominated by the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Finals in 5 games. Carolina was clearly the better team. They were the better team in the regular season, and of course in the Stanley Cup Finals as well. I mean, Santa Claus did his thing. He did as much as he could, but he could not carry this Vancouver Canucks choke job of a team to a Stanley Cup. And great, your mom's the hoe is the Conn Smythe winner. 11 goals and 22 points. I'm out of here. I'm not watching these cucks win a Stanley Cup. All right, here we are back on the wheel, spinning yet again. We got a good team last time in Vancouver. Hopefully we get an even better team. Maybe Colorado, Tampa Bay. Oh, Colorado, please, please. Yes, we got the Colorado Avalanche. One of the best teams in the game, maybe the best, or maybe the second best behind Tampa Bay. It doesn't even matter. Santa Claus is a member of the Colorado Avalanche. Let's freaking go. Well, before we do that, I forgot to show you the stats. Santa Claus in the playoffs had 11 goals and 35 points in 24 games played. A very good playoff run by him. Pettersson was pretty good as well. Yet again, St. Nick is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Ovi again wins the Maurice Richard, the Norris, the Cale Makar. The Conn Smythe obviously went to your mom's a hoe. The Vezina to Freddie Anderson, and the Selke will go to Sean Couturier. And finally, we can see old St. Nick on a very good NHL roster on the Colorado Avalanche. Of course, he's a 96, alongside Mikko Rantanen, who's a 93, and Gabriel Landeskog, who's an 88. You know what? Screw it. Throw Nathan McKinnon up there on the first line. Let's roll out a 95, 96, and 93 on that top line. That should put up a lot of points. And you know what, Landy? Screw it. You're a good two-way forward. You can play center. Valerie Nichushkin's there. Hopefully, he doesn't order any more hookers. Lehkonen as well. Obviously, offensively, we're good. Defensively, we have probably the best D pairing in the entire league with Devon Taves and Cale Makar. And in goal, we have a pretty decent goalie in Alexander Georgiev at an 85 overall. This team, honestly, should win the Stanley Cup. And no surprise at all, as Colorado is going to dominate the regular season as we go 54-20-8, good enough for 116 points. First in our division, and we would end up being the best team in the entire NHL, as we should be. This team is absolutely loaded. The LA Kings were up there with 49 wins, Boston, Vegas, St. Louis, and the Red Wings. And Santa Claus is just going to continue to climb. 40 goals, 131 points, leading the Colorado Avalanche. Mikko Rantanen had 108, McKinnon had 106. Very good seasons by the top line. Cale Makar had 82, Landy had 70, Devon Taves had 59, Lehkonen 56. McKinnon had 39 goals, Rantanen had 56, and Santa Claus, of course, has 40. Georgiev went 41-15-6, 3 shutouts, and pretty good stats overall. Obviously, the big guy is going to lead all skaters in points with 131, followed by Rantanen's 108, Matthews had 107, McKinnon was up there, William Nylander had 104, McDavid had a pretty down season with only 103, Marner had 101. Now for goals, I'm willing to bet that Alexander Ovechkin led the way. No, it was actually Austin Matthews with 58 goals, followed by Rantanen's 56, Kucherov had 53, Ovi, surprisingly, only had 49, kind of expecting more out of him, honestly. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Chicago Blackhawks. We should absolutely breeze by them. I don't even know how they made the playoffs. Honestly, I don't even know at this point. We went 7 games with Chicago in the very first round. We were actually down 3-1. Somehow we managed to come back, and then we lose to St. Louis in Game 7 of round number 2. Like, this team is absolutely loaded. There's no reason why we should not go all the way. Absolutely no reason. As the goddamn Columbus Blue Jackets win the Stanley Cup, beating St. Louis in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now for the playoffs, Santa Claus did his thing. 6 goals, 20 points, 14 games. The rest of the roster was absolute shite. I mean, come on, boys. Like, what's going on here, EA? Please explain to me how, if you add a 96 overall player to the Colorado Avalanche, how they do not win the Stanley Cup. Yet again, Santa's going to win the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Matthews going to take home that Maurice Richard. The Norris, yet again, to Cale Makar. The Conn Smythe to Johnny Hockey. The Vezina, yet again, to Freddie Anderson. And the Selke's going to go to McDavid, yet again. And here we are, yet again, spin the wheel. I mean, I don't think we're going to get a better team than Colorado to join. It's honestly just going to get harder from here, and we're back in the Vancouver Canucks. I'm not joining Vancouver again. The rule is, if we land on the same team twice, we got to spin again. We can't go back to Colorado, Vancouver, or Calgary. So it's got to be a new and fresh team, and it looks like it's going to be the Nashville Predators, which honestly is not the greatest team to go to. So Santa Claus is going to play in the middle alongside Gustav Nyquist at an 83 and Philip Forsberg, who's an 89. Honestly, this roster is not really great. Pretty below average offense. Defensively, we do have Roman Josi, who's a 94. That should definitely help us out. And in goal, we have a very good goalie in UC Saros, 89 overall. I do expect us to make the playoffs, but not to make a lot of noise, honestly. This is just not a Stanley Cup contending roster. I'm sorry, Nashville. Nashville, surprisingly, is going to have a great regular season, going 51-28-3, good enough for 105 points. The best team in the Central, also the best team in the entire NHL, was the Islanders. I got you in the first half, don't even lie. Nashville would end up coming second, though. Buffalo was up there, Carolina, New Jersey. God damn, the Islanders won 56 games. Old St. Nick is going to take a slight step back in production. I mean, 38 goals and 104 points is still very good. Philip Forsberg had 33 goals and 74 points. Roman Josi, 72. Ryan O'Reilly had 70. Novak was up there with 61. Nyquist at 55. UC Saros went 42, 18, and 3. 6 shutouts and very good stats. He was honestly probably the reason we won so many games. Connor McDavid's going to lead all skaters in points with 114. Actually, him and Draisaitl are each going to tie at 114. Santa Claus would come in second with 104. Barkov had 100. Jason Robertson, 99. For the goals side, Ovi's going to lead with 61. Matthews up there with 58. Pass to 54. Kaprizov 50. McDavid at 48. Jack Eichel was up there at 44. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Vegas Golden Knights. And Nashville is going to end up getting dominated by the Minnesota Wild in 5 games as they go on and win the Stanley Cup in 6 games over the Islanders, despite the fact they could not do it when Santa Claus was on their team. I don't even know at this point, man. EA Sports, it seems like whatever team you control has less odds to win the Stanley Cup than a team that you do not control. Now for the playoffs, Santa's going to have 4 goals, 13 helpers for 17 points in 11 games. He did his thing. Forsberg had 13 and 7 goals. Roman Josi had 11. McDavid is going to take home Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Ovi wins the Maurice Richard yet again. The Norris to John Carlson. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Kaprizov. The Vezina to Ilya Sorokin. And the Selke is going to go to McDavid. And yet again, we're back to square number 1, spinning the wheel, seeing which team we're going to land on. Hopefully, we get a team that we can actually... Oh my god, we're landing on Nashville again. Yeah, I'm going to have to spin it again here, boys. All right, here we go. Long spin. Let's get a good team. Give me the Tampa Bay Lightning winning, and I will automatically guarantee a Stanley Cup victory. Unfortunately, we got the New York Islanders, which isn't a bad team to get, for say, but, like, maybe there's a better choice. Regardless, Santa's going to be joining the Long Island of Brooklyn. I believe they play in Brooklyn. Maybe not. Maybe they do. Who knows? I don't know. So, there he is, Old St. Nick on the first line with Matthew Barzal, who's an 88, and Brock Nelson, 85. This team, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not a Stanley Cup winning team, that's for sure. Maybe adding Santa will help them out a lot defensively. Defensively, we are very good. And of course, we have Ilya Sorokin in the net at a 92. And somehow the New York Islanders don't even make the playoffs as they only won 41 games on the season, finishing behind Carolina, Pittsburgh, the Rangers, and the Devils. Jesus Christ. The old jolly bastard himself is going to score 44 goals and 103 points despite the fact that his team was not very good. He was still good. Nikita Kucherov's going to lead all skaters in goals with 60. Actually, that'll be Matthews with 65. And for points, is going to be Kucherov with 108. Santa Claus was up there, though, with 103. And, of course, somehow the Colorado Avalanche are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup. But, like, are you kidding me? Oh, this makes no sense, dude. Oh, this game is literally ruining my Christmas spirit. Let's see what team we're going to land on here. Oh my god, we're not getting back to Nashville. Okay, we got Montreal, who's not a very good team whatsoever. Oui, mi boo boo, comment ça va? Le Santa Claus on the Montreal Canadiens, 96 overall, alongside Cole Caulfield and Sean Monahan. And hopefully we can win a Stanley Cup with this roster. I do not know though. Montreal, of course, not a very good team, but maybe with Santa we can ride the sleigh to the Stanley Cup. Oui. That's gotta be the worst attempt at a French accent ever. Let me know how good that was, boys. It was probably terrible, but whatever. So the Montreal Canadiens are going to end up making the playoffs as we finish 4th in the Atlantic on 44, 35, and 3. Good enough for 91 points on the season. New York Rangers were the best team in the entire NHL, winning 47 games, followed by Pittsburgh, Vancouver, Detroit, and Carolina. St. Nick's going to have a bounce-back season, 41 goals and 124 points, followed by Cole Caulfield, 77, also 39 goals. Nick Suzuki at 66, Monahan 61. Kirby Dach was up there. Brendan Gallagher had 49. Had a 30-goal season as well, which is pretty surprising. Yet again, Mr. Claus is going to lead all skaters in points, this time with 124, followed by McDavid's 117. Matthews at 107, Draisaitl 104, Kane 102. Pettersson was up there, Nylander and Marner for the goal side. Auston Matthews is going to lead with 57 goals, followed by Kucherov's 54. Ovi had 50. Jason Robertson at 49, Kaprizov 48, Brock Besser was up there 46, Santa Claus, of course. And in the first round of the playoffs, sadly, we're going to have to play the New York Rangers, who were amazing in the regular season. So I'm honestly expecting a first-round exit here. And despite a valiant effort, Montreal's not going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as we lost in the conference finals to the eventual Stanley Cup winning Columbus Blue Jackets, as they went on and beat Vancouver in Game 7. Santa Claus was pretty good in the postseason. I mean, 8 goals and 20 points in 18 games is pretty good. Brendan Gallagher was very good. He also had 12 goals as well as 18 points.
He's making his list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming for that goddamn Stanley Cup. Maybe eventually, who knows?
All right, back on the wheel. Here we go. Hopefully we get a good team here that we can join and not like a terrible team. Oh, give me Boston. Give me Boston. Please, the Boston Bruins. Let's go! The Boston Bruins, one of the best simulating teams in NHL 24. There he is on the first line of the Boston Bruins. Santa Claus down the middle, 96 overall, of course, alongside Brad Marchand at a 91, and David Pastrnak, who's a 95 overall. Probably the best line in the entire NHL. We should simulate great, boys. We have great offense, great defense, and we have a great goalie tandem. Linus Ullmark at a 90, and Jeremy Swayman, 88. So at the end of the regular season, Boston's going to end up finishing 3rd in the Atlantic as they go 47, 27, and 8. Good enough for 102 points on the season. Washington was surprisingly the best team in the entire NHL, winning 52 games, followed by Winnipeg. Colorado was up there, Toronto, and Tampa Bay. Old St. Nick's going to have a pretty good season. I mean, 29 goals and 104 points is not bad whatsoever, leading the Boston Bruins, followed by passes, 87. Marchand had 79. Charlie McAvoy was up there with 68. Zacha, 59. And for goalies, Allmark's going to go ago, 37, 21, and 7, 6 shutouts, and pretty good stats overall. The entire NHL, McDavid is going to lead in points with 121, followed by Draisaitl's 120, Matthews up there, Marner, and Santa Claus at 104. Now for the goal side, Matthews had 66, yet again leading all skaters. McDavid had 53, a very good season by him. Ovi had 52, so a lot of goal scoring going on in the NHL this season. And in the first round of the playoffs, oh my god, we have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, who pretty much simulate the best out of any team in this game, so I'm not really expecting a first round victory. And the Boston Bruins have gone all the way, and they are in the Stanley Cup Finals up against the Edmonton Oilers and of course Connor McDavid. Let's see if Santa Claus can go on and bring a Stanley Cup back to the North Pole for the very first time in human history. And old Saint Nick is gonna get it done on Christmas Day here with the Boston Bruins as they go on and defeat the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. It was a hard-fought series, but Boston is going to come out on top here, and finally Santa has carried a team to a Stanley Cup. He gets to bring it back to the North Pole, the very first time ever the Stanley Cup's going to visit there. And who knows, maybe he will even stick it in his sleigh as he travels around the world, and there he is winning the Stanley Cup. 15 goals, 38 points. And what I was saying was maybe he'll put the Stanley Cup in his sleigh while he's riding around the entire world, delivering gifts to all the kids. But here comes our captain, old Saint Nick, that jolly bastard, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his NHL career. We finally have done it. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. We have gone ahead and won old Saint Nick a Stanley Cup in NHL 24 as he hopped around the NHL from team to team. He started out, I believe, on Calgary, went to Vancouver, then I think Colorado, and I forget after that. But it did end up taking him 6 long years to do it, but we did get it done. He gets to bring the Stanley Cup back to the North Pole. I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Hopefully you're having a very happy and safe holidays. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.